We're all owned by the Syndicate, body and soul. Or should I just say body?
Hello, filthy movie lovers, something weirdos, and anti-criterion bros, to the 26th episode of the Sin Syndicate, the only podcast that knows candle wax and candy bars are the way to a woman's heart, and every staircase should be checked for tripwire before descending. My name is Gentry Austin, writer and researcher, and I'm here with my co-host, adult film historian Casey Scott. And in this week's episode, we will be submitting to a 1969 psychological sex film starring a pre-porno, pre-Sarno Miss Jennifer Wells, director Alan Savage's New York shot dreamlike thriller Submission.
Submission, a study of woman, the desire to submit, the secrets of an orgy, the symbols of perversion. They are here for all desires unreal, passions that consume, emotions that ooze outward, bearing the vitals of life.
But first, a couple quick updates from the sexploitation news desk. We know how people like to be teased. I think we can comfortably tease a few things that are in the pipeline, right, Casey?
I think so. It's the nature of the genre to tease, so I don't see why we also would not.
Yeah, so the first is a release that we will be heavily involved in. I believe it's going to be announced next month, right, Casey? Is that correct? What do you think?
No, the one that we did our first commentary for?
Yes.
It'll be announced in January. Yes.
I wasn't sure if
because it's one of those that basically they don't announce it until the month that it's available. So they'll announce it in January. That might give people a hint of what studio it is, what boutique label it is. Yeah. One of those.
Yes. What else? We've got some other stuff in the works. Hopefully we can talk to Lisa next month, which is one of the projects. Hopefully we can talk more about that next month with her. But other than that, I would also say keep an eye on Kino Lorber. You know, if you've been paying attention, they've been doing a lot of nudie cutie stuff lately. And I think they've exhausted all the Forbidden Fruit series. I'm not sure, but I think that they're done with the 50s. I think that they're getting into the 60s here. You know, we know of a few that are coming down the pipeline. So, hopefully we'll be involved with some of that stuff.
I think Forbidden Fruit's going to keep going.
Is there more? I think
they're just finally branching out. Yeah, I mean, there's so many films that they could do restorations for on those black and white, like, roadshow movies.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's done. I think they are finally doing the 60s ones. We saw Mr. Peter's Pets come out, so now they're finally exploring nudie cuties and beyond. So I think that's kind of what we have to look forward to in that regard, for sure.
Yep. So that's our little tease. We'll leave it there. What else do we have, Casey, for updates?
Well, the first one I had to... So, Joel Landwehr continues. The big update for this is, I took out Puritan's Dream. Gentry posted, images and video on our Instagram of Puritan's Dream. And then I posted additionals on the Something Weird Facebook group. And something that I did take was screenshots of all of the credits of the movie, including all the fake cast names, but there were some real crew names in there. So one of the crew names was cinematographer Ivan Spain. So Mike McCollum, God love Mike, did just a quick search on Ivan Spain. Ivan Spain is his real name. He was a photographer in New York, and he captured street life in the 60s and 70s, but he's also based in San Francisco and did photography out there too. He's still alive. He's 88, so another person I have to call. He's had different kinds of shows of his work pop up in the last several years of like portraits of people on the streets of New York. And Mike believes that the photographer studio in Hot Blood might be his photography studio.
Oh, okay.
But he thinks, just based on comparing the photography that he did in the 60s with In Hot Blood, which he watched for the first time, he thinks that it's probably a safe bet to say that Ivan shot that.
That would make sense. Yeah.
Fluctuation has 2 other people on it that were real people, so that was not Ivan. I think by that time he might have relocated to San Francisco. But he also became an actor in his 70s for a movie called All of Me, Sex Over 70, which was, discussing how senior citizens have sex, and he kind of did a tour with that little movie. I think it might have been just a doc. But I'm interested in speaking to him, obviously, because I think he's one of the only people around who worked with Joel on any of his films that I can actually get a hold of now. And
if he hangs up on you, then Joel is definitely in witness protection.
I know, right? It's like, wait a minute, what's the deal? I'm crossing my fingers that somebody will. I mean, I still never heard back from the brother's partner or the actress that he, went around to parties with and stuff. I need to actually call them. The issue is just finding the time to do that. It's much easier to send emails while I'm working and stuff. So that was the big one. And actually, the other piece of news I have on here, I don't think we need to discuss in that much detail. I will just say the sex negativity around sex films these days is just really getting to me. So I've been haunting a few comment sections. There was a screening of an adult film in Los Angeles last week, and some of the reviews were driving me up the wall. And I'd had a few drinks, and I posted on my Instagram story that, in all of my years of screening adult films in New York and the experiences of going to other adult film screenings in New York, never had anything like this happen. Never had anybody say, well, I wanted to go see an adult movie so I could laugh at it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, nobody goes to see these movies to laugh at them. Like, oh my God, this is terrible. We can laugh at this. Everyone wants like a room experience with like 70s porno. When you're watching a Roger Watkins movie, that is never going to be the case. Even Pink Ladies is very dark. I mean, it's funny, but it's also very dark. So the fact that you go into an adult movie made by the guy who made Last House on Dead End Street thinking you're going to get some chuckles is deranged. So I had a few people say, well, I don't know why you're saying it's an LA thing. I had at least 12 messages from 12 different people say, oh yeah, LA is like this. And it reminded me of our conversations with Dakota and Chris last week, where they had issues with a screening of a Pink film in LA, where they picked a comedy, so it went down easier, but they expressed hesitation to show a lot more in LA because there's something about the audiences there that don't react to sex films the way audiences in Chicago and New York do. And I don't know what it is about that California sunshine that has done that. I don't understand that.
Yeah. I don't think it helped that it was screened at, Quentin Tarantino's New Beverly, where I think they attract they attract a certain type of bro, I think. I've heard that before. So it is what it is.
LA film bros are very different from New York film bros. I mean, both are a different kind of insufferable, but they're different types of insufferable. And I guess I'm a New York film bro, but not as much as I used to be. And just this morning, somebody decided to complain about the fact that there was a young child in The Fireworks Woman, the title card for Fireworks Woman on Reddit. And I was like, well, take it up with Craven. And I believe it was his daughter. And he's in the scene. It's a non-sexual scene with a child in an adult film. And I think there are so many other adult films that have children in them. It's because the actors are playing adult characters, and guess what? Some of them have children. So you're going to have scenes with them being parents. It's like, and these scenes aren't included to titillate an adult film audience. Like, oh my God, there's a kid in here. I can't wait to jerk off. I think it's just holding these adult films to higher standards. Like, well, it's a sex film. There should never be kids in here. It's like, well, it's a film first. So like, then maybe you should say that about every film. Maybe there shouldn't be kids in here if it's an R-rated movie with a lot of sex in it, but they will never do that. So that was fun to wake up to this morning too. complaining about a dead man, including his daughter shirtless at like 6 years old in Fireworks Woman, in a scene that he's in, having fireworks with his kids. Very crazy and weird. And so I was like, and then I watched Submission and I was like, oh, made me feel so much better. I was like, yeah, sex film, right?
Straight up sex film. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, right. I was like, it's there's nothing wrong with sex on film. I really wish people would kind of embrace seeing sex in film.
Last thing about, the corruption screening that we're alluding to is, I was wondering if anybody had introed it. Did you ever hear anything back about anybody that was at the screening?
No, which is strange to me because when we screened it, we had Larry Ravine, Michael DeTore, and Kelly Nichols. We flew out from California. She's still there in Los Angeles, so I don't think anybody called her. So we had a Q&A and intro and everything on there, which I think is probably says a lot compared to it's a good comparison to how those two screenings went. One was respectful and historical, and the other was I don't know what. So.
Yeah, based on what I've read about it, some people didn't even know what they were getting into. They were just like, oh, I thought this was going to be a horror movie. So clearly they didn't do a good job advertising this.
No, I mean, I don't know if they wanted to show a horror X-rated movie. I think Through the Looking Glass, did that just screen there? I don't remember, but that's available to book on 35mm. We screened it on 35mm. So Sex Wish is available. That would have gone over way worse, probably, actually. There are hardcore horror movies that are available. I think they screened Hot Summer in the City, and the reactions to that were not great either, because I remember going to Letterboxd and checking after a friend told me they screened that, and I was like, oh, yeah, not good. I think people are weird about sex in movies these days.
It's the story of our life, yep. Let's get into it. Yeah, because this was a rewatch for me. How many times have you seen Submission?
Oh, wow. I think like probably 12.
Oh, wow. Times. Okay.
Yeah. It's not, I mean, I really love it because it's more of it's such an experience. It's such a really interesting, it just kind of washes over you. Definitely. And there's such a distinct lack of plot, which is fine. I mean, but it really is just more like a visual and a visual audio experience. It's like it's very art filmy, really. Absolutely. It's kind of what Fluctuations was trying to do, but Fluctuations is way worse. Like you can see that this is trying to be like an artsy underground movie a lot of the time.
Yep, I think so too. Well, let's start with the release history. So produced in 1969, but actually released in 1970. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Okay. By Chancellor Films, our favorite. So we're lucky we have this at all.
Yeah, one of those.
We have a negative, and we have deleted scenes from in negative form on the DVD. Shockingly, we have a good quality Chancellor Films title.
And if you guys remember, this is by Alan Savage, who was the director of our number one, well, I shouldn't say number one, but our unanimous pick for the film that we would most like to see found in our Lost in Limbo series that we did. So they
Weekend
both star.
Strangers.
Yeah, Weekend with Strangers was the pick.
Also from Chancellor too. Yeah.
Yeah, so that Chancellor doesn't survive that we know of yet, but this one, does. So that's a treat.
Yeah, it's interesting they both have Jennifer Wells too. So they must have really been taken with her. And then she changes her name for Weekend with Strangers. She's Lisa Duran in here. So yeah, she made one Lisa Duran movie with them, and then she made one Jennifer Wells movie with them.
Yeah, that is funny that she would. Change her
and she's
name.
Brunette in one and then blonde in the other. One's in black and white and one is in color. So it really is just like such an interesting in less than a year.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's not like it was a big span of time either. Yeah.
No, it was less than a year. So it's just kind of like, okay, so they did well with this, and then they just took this, they made a complete transformation in terms of their star and also their production and in the production. I mean, yeah, it's interesting to note the two just based on the trailer that exists of Weekend with Strangers.
Yeah. I should also mention this is streaming on Cultpix if you have a subscription there. So sign up, check it out. Alex also pointed out that the ad campaign for The Debauchers and Submission are nearly identical.
Are they?
I don't know. I think
they do not look that way to me.
I can. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't say nearly identical, but they're similar.
If you mean by everything is crowded together on the right side of the poster, sure. But I don't see the similarities that he sees. They're also very different films, and I think there was a suggestion they used the same designer and agency, but I don't know who Sam Lake used for Debauchers. But Chancellor, I think, had their own people in house, did they not? So I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll throw that in the show notes. You can take a look and judge for yourself.
Yeah, because I can't see it, but maybe my eyes haven't been trained to notice similarities in advertising campaigns. It's not as similar as like The Witch Who Came from the Sea. That artwork is stolen from like a paperback, or like Shock.
Yes,
the poster for Mario Bava Shock is stolen from like a paperback of a Shirley Jackson book. Like it's not as obvious when it's photos we're talking about compared to like artwork.
Yeah, or Lucio Fulci's The Psychic, that art with the skull with the, the serpent coming through. I've seen that on a few other films. So
like exactly. So it's sort of, I mean, that's very, yes, exactly. I think it's more of an artwork thing. That's easier to replicate than like photographs, especially when none of the cast members are the same in these movies. So it's I'm not seeing it, Alex. I'm not seeing it, my love, but we'll talk.
Yeah. Synopsis for Submission from the Something Weird video triple feature, which was the Times Square triple feature, which we just talked about a couple episodes ago with Fluctuations.
We did.
I will read that quickly. A psycho sex fiend keeps his infantile girlfriend Vicky in submission with candy bars, toys, and yes, hot wax. But when they plan on killing a wealthy lesbian, Vicky discovers she likes a woman's touch and plans a nasty surprise for her boneheaded boyfriend. I think that gives away a little bit. I don't know if I would have gone that far with the
something
synopsis.
Weird. I think when it comes to films like this, they have to spoil it. It's like Toy Box, where because we're dealing with people who aren't able to put things together on their own when they're watching these movies. No shade, viewers, but some of y'all aren't able to piece things together through visual or audio clues. This one is a little tough to follow, but I think they have to do that to kind of at least let people know once they've seen it, oh, that's what happened.
Yeah. I can see that because I was reading Iron Cupcake, our friend Jetta, on Letterboxd, her review of Submission, and she was like, I didn't really know what was going on until the last 10 minutes of this film. And it was kind of like, I guess they don't really... It's not made... some of these plot points are not... Well, there isn't too much plot, but it's not made explicit, who this lady is that they're going to work for.
Right.
So,
and even like the flashbacks, which are flashbacks, you're not necessarily sure how they fit into the narrative, so you have to piece that together yourself. Like Sheila Britt is one of their previous targets of blackmail and fleecing, and and the boyfriend is shown to be a deviant by like raping a girl in a park or in the woods, and No, it's hard. You kind of know their flashbacks because you have like that swirl camera edit effect, but sometimes you don't. So it's kind of like, okay, so is this going on at the same time as the narrative that we're experiencing, or is this a flashback to how they, what their kind of gig is in fleecing people?
Yeah, the Sheila Britt thing is funny because I mean, is their MO that they're going after older women? So is Sheba supposed to be an older woman? Because in Marcy, which stars Uta Eriksson and Sheila Britt, Sheba, I think, is also supposed to be the older woman in that relationship. So it's always funny that I never really saw her as like an older woman.
Definitely at that point, especially when you consider that she started around the same time Marsha Jordan did, 62. So by 69, she's been doing these movies for 7 years. Like Marsha Jordan, like that's older. So yeah, Sheila Britt, anything after a certain point, she's gonna be older than all of her co-stars. So whether she's, I think there's that thought of like, well, if she's older, she's supposed to be matronly, and it's like, well, it's not necessarily the case. Like Marsha Jordan was never matronly. Who's the other older woman that I love? Belladonna, also older, not but sometimes cast as matronly, but then she lets her hair down. She's, stunning. Yeah, sexploitation, you can't really do matronly. That's in the nature of the genre. Nobody wants to see someone matronly take their clothes off, unless it's a nice surprise. It turns out that they're not matronly.
Well, we'll talk about Sheba later, but
yeah, I have a lot of good stuff about Sheba, who I need to call. We'll talk about that.
The production. This is S&J Films, so obviously Savage and someone named J with the last name J.
I wonder if it's Gary Judin, to be honest. The lead. I'm thinking it might be, because this really, he's like the only man who has most of the sex in this other than João Fernandes. And he might have been Donald Stanley, the co-writer, for all I know. That might have been his pseudonym, because when I researched Gary Judin, I found that he had co-written a bunch of other scripts with a writer-comedian named Michael Preminger, who I think people, if they know him at all now, it's because he wrote the movie Nothing in Common, the Tom Hanks, Jackie Gleason movie. And then he also wrote a TV movie called Gleason about Jackie Gleason. So he has like the comedian Gleason connection. So Gary already was writing, and he was in New York with Preminger. I emailed Preminger to see what he remembered about him, because try as I might, can't find one thing more about Gary Judin. That name is impossible to trace. So, but that's the J that I thought of.
Yeah, that does sound like it's highly likely. Director, co-writer, Savage. He was born in 36. Another mysterious kind of figure, kind of like our Joel Landwehr a bit.
Yeah, not as mysterious, because he has lot. He has a very large footprint in New York, and Boston. So Alan was the director. The executive producer was Arthur, and so they were twin brothers that were from Boston. They were both involved with theater in the Boston area. They both went to Emerson College. They were very involved with children's theater in Boston. And eventually they moved to New York and got involved with doing off-Broadway plays sometime in the mid-'60s. And it was around that time that they did Submission. And then later Weekend with Strangers. So that's where the brothers split. After Weekend with Strangers, they split up. So Alan stayed in New York and became a very beloved and very popular acting coach. So he took his background in directing, and that's something else. In terms of children's theater, they ran a children's theater company, but also Alan was a children's acting teacher in Boston. Okay. So he already was doing acting teaching with children in the 60s before he came to New York. So Alan just transitioned that into dealing with mostly adults in New York. So he stayed in New York. Arthur went back up to Boston and became more established there as a local theater director. And so he did that, well into the 80s, as far as I can tell. Arthur came back to New York and did an off-Broadway play that was it was a revival of an Ira Levin play called Veronica's Room, because the two of them were friends. And that played, that was in 1981, and it was executive produced by his wife, Barbara, who is still alive. So Arthur and Barbara are involved in theater, but also Alan's wife, Leonore, was an actress with him as Lee Savage. So we have these two twins with wives both wives are also involved in the theater world.
Yeah, just theater, though. They never did any film making.
The actresses? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the actresses, as far as I could tell, never did it. The wives never did any film. Yeah. They were not involved with either film. But they were married to them at the time that both of them made this film and Weekend with Strangers. Mm-hmm. So the fact that both wives are still around and both brothers are not, means that I kind of want to reach out to the wives at some point.
Yeah.
But I've said before, I tried reaching out to the Savages for years, both of them, Alan and Arthur.
You've been trying for a long time.
I've been trying for a long time. I even wrote them letters, and I never got a response. So they either were intercepted or they didn't want to talk. I think Alan probably would have been more receptive. I was going after Arthur more. I don't know why. I'm not sure why I went after Arthur more. Probably because it was easier to find the phone book. But every time I called, I got Arthur's son. And Arthur's son would tell me, well, yeah, my dad was involved with theater, but you're calling about films? My dad didn't make any films. So that conversation has to end, because that means he didn't tell his children that he made 2 sexploitation movies before he got more involved with theater. So unfortunately, Arthur died in 2016. So he was in New York. He came back to New York after... He came back in New York to do the Veronica's Room play in 81. And then I think he stayed. He'd go back and forth between Boston and New York and, handle productions in Boston and New York. He died in 2016, unfortunately. And it said he was survived by his brother, Alan. So Alan was still alive until December of last year. Unfortunately, he died December 2024. Which is terrible. This keeps happening where I keep finding people and I'm like, oh, great, they're here. And then I will discover, oh, they died literally months ago. So I can't speak to them now. But Alan, it's interesting. I was able to confirm that it is the Alan Savage that we would want to be looking for, because he was interviewed in the New York Daily News in 1973 about Mayor Lindsay not running for re-election. And there's a picture of him. Yeah. And so we know what Alan looks like. And Arthur, I don't know if Arthur was a identical twin or just a fraternal twin. So I don't know if Arthur looked like Alan.
Okay.
But Alan's picture matches all of the videos and memorial photos and things that his acting pupils shared of him after he died. So that definitely was him. And he is unfortunately no longer with us. And it sucks, because that means The Weekend with Strangers, we have absolutely no one to talk to, because everyone involved with that is gone now. Every single person that we know that was involved is gone. And Submission, there's a few people that are left who I am actively trying to reach out to, but unfortunately both of the Savage brothers are no longer with us, which, considering they came from a theatrical background, when you watch this movie, it is so not what you would expect from someone who comes from theater.
There's very little dialogue.
Because you have a lot of those directors. Yes, there's very little dialogue. The acting is not... There's no big showboat acting moments. It's not like a Sarno or like a Michael Miolas Tuck Me In, where he came from theater. It's not like a Brasloff, where he also came from like theater and performance. It's very visual. It's about telling the story through visuals. So it's really like they hired the right people technically to make this movie, and they weren't concerned about like a script or about performance moments as you think they would be.
Well, now that they're both gone, it almost makes me wonder if you should call again. I don't know how you would word it, but maybe through them passing away, they went through their stuff and maybe they found out about these movies, and maybe it's not
it's possible
surprise anymore.
Right. Well, that's why I think reaching out to, and I'll mention him again because I love him, Sean does this a lot. Sean Langrick, who we've discussed, will reach out to family members of deceased film personnel, and he's pretty good at it. He's pretty good at approaching people in the right way, so that they're able to either say, well, this is new to me and I'm interested in helping you, or yeah, I knew about it. It wasn't something that person was proud of, whatever. So I definitely want to reach out to both wives. The one, Barbara, is still in Massachusetts, where Arthur died. And then Lee is still here in New York, where Alan died. So the wives are still alive. And also they had children. They're like, Arthur had the son. Alan had a daughter. So, yeah, they have wives and children that I can contact, which I'm because they're just, like a lot of these films, there are just questions that I have. Like, we don't know why they decided to make this film. Was it money? It feels like if it was a cash grab, it could have been something cheap and ugly like In Hot Blood. and it's not. It's something that's like really technically skilled. It's incredibly well edited and photographed. Like it feels like it's some kind of statement or some kind of like experiment.
Yes.
And so the backstory of that is what intrigues me the most. And then Weekend with Strangers, going by the trailer, completely different story, acting, more locations. Like they expanded in color. So like I would really like to know what that journey was like, going from something that was so obviously low budget, focused on technical skill over story and acting, and then moving to something else which was more expensive, which was focused on like a script and story beats.
I wonder if Submission was always planned as like the film to fund Weekend with Strangers. Possibly.
That's possible. You never know. Yeah, it's just, I mean, as much interesting stuff I found about the Savage brothers, and very impressive careers for both of them outside of these films. And there's a big footprint that they left in like the theater world in New York and Boston. But then also I found that interesting article about the arrest while this was being produced, where they interviewed Alan. And I don't know if you want to go over that now or when we go over Gary.
Yeah, let's go into it in a little bit. But also back to, it would be nice to talk to someone that knows a little bit about this, because the music is my biggest mystery.
I agree.
Whoever made this music? Who is 91? They composed and performed this music.
It's such an important part of the movie. And it really, and that's why I've seen it 12 times, because either I've been sitting watching it or I've had it on because I just like the overall ambient experience of the movie.
Yeah.
And that soundtrack is just really incredible. I want to know who it was. I wonder if it was Manny Duran, which was Lisa Duran's husband, aka Jennifer Wells' husband. He did the music for Weekend with Strangers too.
Oh,
so it's
really?
Possible because he was a jazz musician, and there's that jazz piano and things and little pieces in there. So it's possible that he was a member of this mysterious 91 that's credited for the music score. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us either. But that was the first person I thought of, was like maybe Manny was involved with this, because Lisa, or Jennifer Wells, Lisa was touring with his married name as an exotic dancer throughout the 60s. So, like, he was with her that whole time. He was very aware of her sexploitation career. And as we see with Weekend with Strangers, was actually involved with some of the films that she made.
Yeah.
So that's a possibility.
Yeah, that's funny because Joel Reed remembered when they were working on Career Bed, Jennifer's, he said, boyfriend was there, and he was like strumming the guitar in the background.
Yeah,
just like,
that's Manny Duran.
That must have been Manny. Okay. Because I had heard that he was a trumpeter, but I always forget, like, look, these jazz musicians, they can do everything, They're not just a trumpeter. So he could have played all the music on this, or he could have been part of this, a collective.
Part of a group. Yeah, right. Well, that's funny because there is something like that I found. Well, we'll, I guess, go over it more. But yeah, there was an interview with Lisa where she was, she was not an exotic dancer. She was interviewed in a newspaper article where she said that she was used to dancing in her numbers to like Latin beats. And so when she had to tour and there were like house bands at these strip clubs that couldn't play Latin music, she had to adjust her act because she couldn't do any kind of Latin dancing. So, it's interesting because, that just ties into like to Manny, where he was involved with like jazz and Latin music and things. So.
Well, let's cruise through some more important crew members here before we get to the cast. Kemper Peacock. That's another big one here. Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of Sarno.
Interesting guy.
Yeah.
Yes. He was basically Sarno's go-to editor for a lot of his best stuff.
Yeah.
Kemper's interesting. Kemper is someone I haven't talked to in like a long time. I think like 15 years. And I was very happy to find that he is still alive. I just need to call him again because I have his number. I was going to call him before we started recording, but I got sidetracked into other stuff. But so he came from a theater background too initially. So he went to Bard College and he got a degree in theater arts. And I found a thing at Bard College where his senior project was directing 2 plays, No Exit, which we all know, and The Tinker's Wedding, which is very different. So like a drama and a kind of a comedy. Then he went to the Army and he got involved with industrial film in New York. And that's where he got his, experience in editing. So he was working in industrial film editing in New York, and then he kind of stumbled into sexploitation through a friend of his who worked at a bank and was financing sex films. So, and like a lot of New York filmmakers who we see this all the time in New York, where there's an industrial film industry here. And so those people who are working on these like very boring projects will want to do something a little more exciting and for a little more money. And sex films are a good opportunity to do that. So yeah, Kemper edited, oh gosh, how many? I don't remember how many. So he edited Sex Cycle, Wild Pink Horse, Skin Deep in Love, Love Rebellion, My Body Hunger, Scarf of Miss Satin, Deep Inside. And then he was also on the set of Love Merchant and the lost film Step Out of Your Mind, which was never released, which was like the rock and roll movie that he did. So he was very Sarno.
Yeah, sadly, a lot of those are lost Sarnos.
Yes, unfortunately. He also edited She's Doing It Again for Victor Bertini, which I really want to cover on this podcast because that's like probably my favorite Uta Eriksson movie. I think it's the best performance she ever gave. Yes, it's absolutely incredible. Belladonna's in it, and she's great too. It's so good, and I wish more people would see it. He edited Behind Locked Doors for Braslov, which we love. He directed Hot Erotic Dreams from Mort Schumann, which is very good. And then he made Meeting on 69th Street, which unfortunately Kemper I don't like. And it just is not up to snuff with a lot of the other films of that era. He was in the Sarno doc. You can see him. He appears in that as himself. But after sexploitation kind of fizzled and he stopped doing those, he had a major career at ABC as an editor of sports and news footage. So his big thing was he did, I think mostly college football highlight reels and coverage through the 70s. So he was involved with, doing all of this coverage, nationwide coverage, where it had to be flown in so that he could edit it all together really quickly in a space of like 8 hours so that it could be then shown on the news the next night.
Yeah, I can't imagine like how stressful editing sports footage would have been in the pre-digital age. Yeah. Insane.
And because it had to be timely too. So it's like you have to shoot all this shit really quickly and then cut it all together and have it ready. I found an article where he edited a highlight reel together for like in 1973, and the sports media was mad because there was a certain athlete that wasn't included. And so they were trying to blame all these people for not including this major athlete. And Kemper is quoted as saying, like, I'm just work with what I'm given. I wasn't giving any footage of this guy because they're like, well, what is the editor's fault? Nope, not the editor's fault. He works with what he's given. You never gave me any footage of this guy. So,
That's fun.
Very interesting guy. He bought a historic inn in Dover, New York, which he ran for several years with a girlfriend of his until I think she bought him out and then she sold it. She sold it to some hedge fund guy who let it, run into the ground. Oh. He's no longer in New York. He's in North Carolina. And I might call him after we're done recording just because I haven't talked to him in so long. I know he was really helpful to Bowen in his Sarno research. And he's always been very accessible because with that name, how could you not be? There are very few Kemper Peacocks in the world. And it's funny, that's not even his full name was Bryant Kemper Peacock. So Kemper Peacock isn't really technically his real name, but yeah, he was very easy to find on like MySpace and Facebook. He'd answer anybody who ever reached out to him. And he didn't really have that many people reach out to him, which is crazy considering how important he is in New York sexploitation. Right. I think most people forget how important editors are here. And you can see how good his work is in submission and shaping that narrative. That candy bar scene is wild.
Yeah, that's
like
the one that stands out, the way that it's like triple edited.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's a different take each time.
They're all different takes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great, which is interesting, because then it kind of makes it look like, well, we couldn't pick a favorite take. But instead, I think it creates like a weird kind of time loop.
Yeah.
And it's another way that the film messes with like time and narrative really in an interesting way.
I need to go back and rewatch the Sarno doc because I don't remember him. Do you remember what he said about Sarno? Was it?
I don't remember if it was a sit-down interview or if it was a situation where like he was visiting her at a screening and was talking to him.
Yeah.
Because not everybody in that doc did a sit-down interview. Sometimes it was just them in public at screenings that he went to or meetings with different people. But he's definitely in it because he was in New York at the time that was made.
Yeah, that's called The Life in Dirty Pictures. I think we haven't said that yet, but yeah, it's a great doc. Yeah. That just came out on physical, so you can purchase that.
Oh,
but I think it's also on.
I do need to get it.
I think I watched it on Film Movement when it was originally put on there a while back.
It's been 10 years since that thing came out. Yeah. I'm very surprised at that. Time flies because I remember when that came out. And I was so excited because it was set in like the early 2000s because he was shooting. Part of the focus of that doc is him trying to make his comeback movie for Mike Razzo, and that was like 2006 or 7. So yeah, like by the time the movie came out, I think he'd already gone. He wasn't around anymore. I
remember that doc. Yeah, in the doc when he's talking about making that movie and he was still in that like 70s. Sexploitation mode. He wrote the script, and even Peggy was like, "This script, it's not."
Well, it's very like it's like making movies in Florida. It's like you're given a cast of actors. He was given like the Seduction Cinema girls.
Yeah,
and those girls aren't actresses. So, and he used to be able to work wonders with people that couldn't act. Like I think Tina Russell is the big example, but there are other people that he worked with that he was able to bring something out of. I think by that time, years after he had really been at his peak, I think there's only so much attention he could give to getting performances out of these actors. And so it's, did you ever see the movie he made, the Suburban Secrets thing? I was quoted in promotional material for that because they sent me a screener of it. At that time, I was chummy with that company before we had a falling out over a few things. But they quoted me in promotional materials saying like Casey Scott DVD Drive-In and little quotes. I didn't love it, but I liked it enough and I wanted it to do well. So that was one of the only times that I ever really kind of, bit my lip and tried to do positive promotion for something that I didn't really believe in.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore.
2-hour one? It's really long, isn't it?
It's not good. It's not good.
I remember.
And it's disappointing because it is similar to a lot of his earlier films, but it's like, and he wanted to shoot it on film. And I think that was an issue because it was expensive. And like he had these actors who were not good and because they were all Seduction Cinema girls instead of getting actual actors.
Well, now I kind of want to see it.
And the men are gross in it. Yeah, no, it's, if you have to see it, it's a step up from like his awful 80s and 90s adult videos that he was doing for a paycheck. Like you can tell that he wanted to make this good, but he's working against Mike Razzo and that whole Seduction Cinema thing where there's a limit to what they would allow him to do. And there's a limit to what they would actually help him with as well. And so it's an interesting failure.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way.
Oh, excuse me. I didn't know. I thought you were sleeping.
Well, I was so hot and dusty from the trip, I thought I'd... Oh, I got soap in my eyes, Miss Staples. Would you have me that towel?
Sure, here. There you go.
Oh.
I thought you were in bed.
Oh, she felt dusty from the trip.
Isn't this marvelous?
Fred Murphy.
Yes.
Very important cinematographer. Made this when he was 26, 27 years old. And he's still around. I think he's in the Hamptons. in New York. He just showed up at Lincoln Center for a screening of Hoosiers, which he shot.
Okay, so this is the same Fred Murphy, because when I was looking at his filmography,
it's the same
like,
Fred Murphy.
this could be one of those IMDb screw-ups where the name is just so similar, his name got attached to
read
this,
his interviews.
Okay.
His interviews, he doesn't talk about this movie specifically, but yeah, he was a Brooklyn boy. He was working on industrial films just like Kemper was. So yeah, he was in New York at the time shooting stuff, and this is definitely him.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he hasn't ever mentioned this movie that you know of?
I don't know if anyone's asked, except for me. I just emailed him. I don't know if I'm going to hear back from him, but
hey, better late than never. Yeah.
I expressed to him that because both of the directors are gone, and there are very few people around who still worked on the movie, it's kind of imperative that we get a story of the production of this for posterity. So I try to put it that way because he also shot October Sky with Jake Gyllenhaal, which was a big movie. His resume is nuts. And this was the first thing he ever shot, and then he went back to industrial films until like the early 70s. So yeah, very, very interesting guy. He still does interviews. The fact that he's in the Hamptons makes me nervous because that means he's like, if he's got money, then he really doesn't have any reason to talk about this movie. But I mean, it's also a movie that I could see someone like him putting on a reel. You know, there's enough good stuff in this that I think he would put on a reel. Like João Fernandes put stuff from his Damiano films on his reel when he went to Hollywood. You know, I think any cinematographer who knows that they're doing good work would always, regardless of if it was X-rated, would put stuff on a reel if it was from sex films too. I know several filmmakers who have done that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could definitely edit this into a classy-looking clip.
Yeah, I mean, João Fernandes did that. He had scenes from Devil and Miss Jones on his reel.
Yeah,
and Story of Joanna on his reel. Yeah. And Miss Aggie too. Yeah, he definitely had, and I think Larry Ravine did the same thing. Like, yeah, if you're proud of your work and you're able to show what you're able to do with lighting and, you know, framing and stuff, you definitely would include that stuff on your reel.
So we don't really know exactly how he got involved with the Savages. We just know he was a young cinematographer, right?
He was industrial, just like Kemper. So it's possible that he knew Kemper from that.
So it's possible
maybe he got involved
Kemper,
because Kemper brought him to the production. It's possible. Yeah, we don't know. But I mean, that makes more sense. That's kind of like we kind of know how the production manager got involved, who was another, weirdly, also Boston-based. So Grant Willis is the production manager on this. He was an Air Force cadet who graduated from the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York. And when he was working, after he graduated in like 68, I believe, and he got a job in the program department at ABC TV, which is where Kemper was working. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that makes the most sense of how he got involved with this. And also the fact that he's from Boston probably helped if the Savages, you know, wanted to have another New Englander on their set. He pursued acting and only got a few little roles. He was not in submission. But then he pursued a law degree at Brooklyn Law School and then became an attorney. He went back to Massachusetts, and he also died December last year, unfortunately. So the production manager, who also is somebody that I would want to talk to on any film because they're the ones who put it all together, he's gone too, unfortunately.
Yes, we won't ever probably know what the house was that they shot this in, where that was.
Unless Fred says something.
Yeah. Fred, answer your email.
I know, Fred, you need to answer me. And also, you're here in New York. Like,
you need to corner him at a next screening that he shows up to.
If I'd known he was going to Hoosiers in August of this year, I would have gone and been like, I need to talk to you about submission, please. I have people at Lincoln Center who would have helped me out there.
Oh, okay.
I would have been like, actually, in situations like that, I always ask, and then I exchange business cards, and then you follow up later. Like putting someone on the spot and saying, "Give me answers now," is never the move. So, but if you're able to establish that you're asking with good intentions and not with ill intentions of trying to ruin someone's life by bringing up their softcore porn they made or whatever, but you make it clear you want to do it for historical reasons, then they just generally will be like, yeah, sure, no, I'll talk to you. That's fine.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's happened to me several times. But yeah, not on the spot. I wouldn't be like, I'm going to talk to you about the Savage Brothers. Because I don't know if you'd remember them by name, but.
Well, you'd be like, well, do you remember Jennifer Wells? You worked with her. Or, you know, he'd probably remember that.
Well, he probably would have remembered her actual name. which was Lisa Duran, right?
Yeah.
Right. Or the fact that he actually photographed a future cinematographer, fellow cinematographer, and fellow member of the ASC, João Fernandes.
Yes.
Who I'm sure he's run into at meetings of that union because they are both active members. So that's kind of interesting. Tony Foresta, I'm still trying to confirm if this is the Tony Foresta that's based in Florida, or was based in Florida. I think he's in California now, but later became a member of Damiano's crew. So he did sound on Teeny Tulip and Changes. So I'm trying to determine if that's the same guy. But
he had an easy job on this one, I think.
Yeah, really.
There's not that much to mic up.
I mean, there is, but see, that's the thing. We don't know. I don't know how much more live sound was recorded and just not used.
Right. I was thinking that as well. Yeah, we don't know what happened in the edit. Like, it could have been very different when they were shooting it. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, it's interesting that he went on to work with Damiano. It's also because Teeny Tulip was shot in Florida. So he went down to Florida with Damiano, and then it would track that he's the Tony Foresta that had a film company in Florida. He just stayed in Florida. But I don't know. I've sent my feelers out to that guy too to see what's up. So.
Yeah. And we mentioned the music is credited to a 91, very mysterious. And I mean, the film opens with I think it's almost 8 minutes of just instrumental, kind of a soft jazz number. And then the rest of the music is kind of like there's heavy flanger on kind of like a woozy droning. I don't know how you would describe it. I wouldn't call it jazz, but it's experimental music. So
there's definitely jazz in it.
Yeah, I assume this is all...
It opens with jazz and ends with jazz, yeah.
Yeah, this is all 91 we're assuming here. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so who knows? I when I was watching it again, I was thinking about trying to clip everything and put it together as a album almost and upload it to YouTube. But we'll see if I go through with that. Because it's great. Like we both said, the music is a huge part of this movie, and it's part of what makes it so rewatchable, whether or not you're actively participating in the viewing or not. Like you said, it's a great background movie just because the music's so good.
Yeah.
Anything else to add about the music?
No, it's good.
Yeah, it's great.
I love it. Nothing else. We don't know anything. So
who are you?
If I don't know anything, nothing to say. Yeah, because I'd rather not say anything, because if I don't know anything, I don't need to talk about it.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about lighting designer? Have we ever talked about a lighting designer before?
If you look at this movie, the lighting designer is very important. But also, I think it's important to note the lighting designer, because the lighting designer is also still around in California. And lighting designer worked with Ron Sullivan on this as an electrician, and then they both moved over to do Putney Swope the same year with Robert Downey Sr. So, and also, I think, if you're doing any movie with this kind of photography, the lighting is so important. So obviously this is something that somebody that Fred Murphy worked with. He gets a special credit underneath Fred Murphy in the credits. It goes camera, Fred Murphy, lighting, Norris Eisenbray. So obviously very important guy, So and also a very unique name. So that's why I was able to find him. So I need to call him too. And it's possible he worked on other Ron Sullivan stuff, and I just don't know. With a name like that, you would think he'd get more credits, but those are the only 2 credits he has. Considering how good he was at lighting, I'd be surprised if he didn't continue doing it.
Still photographer.
Yeah, Sam Menning, who we talked about him on Rent-A-Girl.
Yep.
Big still photographer and very important figure in the world of sexploitation. So he's the one who was able to capture all those stills that we love of Jennifer Wells in black and white. No longer with us. He was the last person to photograph Betty Page. He managed different New York City strippers and dancers, so he might have been involved with casting more than we know. I need to find more interviews with him. It's just because he went out to California and did this. He worked on a lot of porno sets, and very interesting guy.
Yeah, still photographer. I think modern movie audiences don't understand maybe how important that role was in the pre-digital era and the era of, these big press books that we're always talking about. like they took all those photos on the sets, and sometimes those are all that exist of some of these lost films we have.
Right.
Is the still photos that we get from the set, and sometimes these movies that haven't been restored well yet, the still photos look better than the sort of like VHS rip we're looking at. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you can sometimes get a better picture of what the movie looked like through the still photos than the existing print that we're watching. So we love our still photographers.
Yes, absolutely.
What else we got?
We had Ron Sullivan. So Ron was so basically he was the electrician on this, working with Norris Eisenbray, and then he somehow magically became the production manager on Weekend with Strangers. I do feel like that could have been a Jennifer Wells connection because of Scorpio 70, because he directed her. That was the first Jennifer Wells movie, was Scorpio 70, and he directed that for Sam Lake because she was credited as other people. She was credited as Liza Duran or Lisa Duran, or I think Elizabeth Aubert is her other name on Good, the Bad, the Beautiful. Her first Jennifer Wells movie was Scorpio 70, and he directed that. So I feel like that would be a good connection to place him on the set of Weekend with Strangers with the Savages as a production manager, not just an electrician.
Yeah.
Because by that point, he'd been the director. Yeah, no, I miss Ron. And I never thought to ask him about Jennifer Wells because, as I've said before, not a big Jennifer Wells person. So I really didn't have any questions about her.
Which leads me to ask you, have you seen the Ron Sullivan Early Years, that new package that came out?
Not yet. I still need it sent to me. I Lust Weekend is not good, and I love the bizarre ones. I have never seen Scorpio 70, so okay. I need to get that sent to me on my next comp package from Melicini.
Yep, that's kind of a blind spot for me as well. I haven't seen that. Dakota was asking me about it as well, and I was like, I haven't seen that yet. I need to get on that. I mean,
it was very well distributed. It was very well promoted. Yeah, that kind of made her a star overnight with Scorpio 70. I think that's much more important in developing her into the star that we know than we kind of give her credit for, because it wasn't available for years. But I have found so much promotional material on that. Like they really went nuts promoting this.
Well, that iconic poster art at one sheet for it with her face on the scorpion.
Right.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, I still need to see it.
Last but not least, assistant editor.
Oh, Gail Porter. Yeah, so I was like, well, this is interesting. You have a woman being assistant editor on this movie. She was also the script girl on the set, which I also find interesting. So the only other thing I could find about her, which IMDb is accurate here, was that she co-directed this film called Tales with these three other women directors. I'm trying to find a copy of this. It screened at Anthology Film Archive several years ago, and I was not aware, so I missed it. Yeah, Jill Godmillo was one of the co-directors of that, and she just died in September of this year. So I was trying to find more about Gail Porter because that's such. It's just interesting to me whenever I see a woman on the crew of these.
Well, yeah. I wonder if Kemper would know her.
Her name is shockingly too common. Kemper would definitely know because as assistant editor, he would have worked with her. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to ask her. I'm going to ask him what he remembers about her.
Yeah, interesting.
I'd like to talk to you, Mr. Miles, about you and your wife staying on here.
Hasn't our work been satisfactory?
Yes, but...
Don't you like us, Miss Staples?
Yes.
Or is it just me?
What do you mean?
It's not exactly a secret you're not particularly attracted to me. As a matter of fact, if I didn't know better.
What do you mean?
But that would be such a waste, Miss Staples. You're a very attractive woman. Very, very attractive.
Well, let's get into the juiciest part of this movie, which is the cast here. A couple, I know we're like chomping at the bit to talk about a couple of the members of the cast here. Obviously, I think we can start with Jennifer Wells under her Lisa Duran pseudonym here. So I'm trying to understand, I mean, the timeline is so short. So she had done how many movies for Henry Bouchard? Just Scorpio?
She did This Sporting House, which was Liza Duran, and I think that was it. She'd only done the one for him that wasn't Jennifer Wells.
Okay.
Liza Duran, she only did a handful of movies with, or Liza or Lisa Duran, she only did a handful of movies under that name, under those names.
And the two movies she did with Joel Reed, Career Bed and Sex by Advertisement. I know Career Bed was first, and Sex by Advertisement came pretty hot on the heels.
Right.
And is this actually in the middle between those? I'm not sure. I know that's sometimes how it's presented. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I never try to pinpoint that exact chronology because it's kind of, for any actress I like, I don't ever try to, I don't need the exact chronology. Okay. Just whatever year it was released, that's what I'll go by.
Yeah, I'm like trying to find the shooting date, but it's.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, good luck. That's not going to happen. Like, I don't know what was first. I have no idea what was first. Not a clue. But the name that she was touring under was Lisa Duran, which was, I believe, her real married name. And then that became Liza Duran on Career Bed and Sex by Advertisement. And there was something else she used Liza Duran on, maybe The Sporting House. But yeah, all I know is Scorpio 70 was the first Jennifer Wells. And then Weekend with Strangers was the second.
Okay, yep.
And Weekend with Strangers was the first blonde Jennifer Wells. She was a brunette and everything until Weekend with Strangers. Which is funny because she waited until color to become a blonde. Because she only did black and white as a brunette. And I feel like maybe there was some kind of situation where someone told her, well, you'll be taken more seriously as an actress if you're a brunette. So she became a brunette because, I mean, her roles in her 60s films are much more substantial and interesting than her roles in hardcore. Her roles in hardcore are not that great, and they don't really give her much to do. So, I prefer the brunette Jennifer Wells era.
I do too. So that's the funny thing too. I don't know how, I feel like most people approach her career through the hardcore stuff. That's probably what they know her for or first see her in.
Probably.
I had always known her from the Sarnos first.
Right.
And then I went back to the black and whites, and then I've seen some of her hardcore stuff. So it's
kind of interesting.
It is interesting to for me, because it's like there's a lot of sexploitation actresses that never did. I'd say the majority of them didn't go into hardcore. So seeing them
after a certain point, before a certain point, yes. After 1970, not really. Yeah, like there's very few that didn't do hardcore after hardcore came around.
Yeah. So it's always weird to me to see someone that I first knew doing softcore that actually went into hardcore. So part of me doesn't like it because it's kind of I don't know. It kind of breaks some of the magic. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what Russ Meyer always said. He didn't like it when one of quote unquote his girls did hardcore because he thought it ruined their image that he had created of them. Because it was he's the reason that anyone knew who they were in his mind. So it was totally, they should have asked him first, as, his misogynistic ass would have probably thought. But actually not even that many Russ Meyer girls did hardcore. It was like Sharon Kelly, Kitten, which he was really pissed about, and Edie Williams, his ex-wife. Maybe a few others. But it's interesting that you got into Jennifer Wells through the Sarno stuff, because she's definitely a memorable part of the Sarno stuff, but she's always, for me anyway, outshone by other cast members in all of those films, in my opinion. Abigail Leslie really belongs to like Mary Mendham and Chris Jordan. American Housewife, Mary Mendham, Chris Jordan.
Yes,
Misty, Mary Mendham. So like, I think casting her with Mary Mendham is really not doing Jennifer Wells any favors, because I think Mary Mendham is also a better actress in a Sarno film. That's kind of important. So I understand her appeal, but it wasn't until I started seeing her softcore stuff that I was like, oh, she was great. I don't know what happened there. I feel she became a worse actress in the 70s than she was in the 60s.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know why that is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just, seeing her next to some of these stronger performers. Yeah. But I think, the roles that she was given going forward further in her career were maybe less interesting than earlier. Do you agree?
I think so. I don't know about her touring in theater, though. Not as an actress. I think her touring was as a dancer.
Yeah, she was like
not
ballet.
an actress.
But I mean, she said she did like
really. She wasn't touring with ballet either. I mean, she had a background in ballet, sure. If she wants to say she did summer stock, that's fine.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I haven't found any evidence of that. I have found all the evidence in the world that she had a very well-loved exotic dancing style that made her very popular in Roanoke, Virginia. And she toured all over the place. Found an article that said that she'd been to Vegas and was successful. I found no evidence she was ever in Vegas. So, like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of an interesting thing. There's all this, apparently there's, these revelations about her through interviews that have been done with her. I can't find any evidence of a lot of that. Mm-hmm. So, I think there are definitely actresses that will kind of try to not rewrite history, but they have their own version of things.
Sure.
And I don't know. Yeah, I know that she studied acting, which you can tell because I think you can see that she's trying a lot in some of her performances. But then, I think she came from mostly like a dancing background, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not like a Patty McNair or a Peggy Steffens. No. They're definitely coming from an acting background. And they did summer stock and they did off-Broadway. Like, she didn't do off-Broadway or stuff in New York.
No.
Theatrically. That would have been kind of where I've been like, well, if you're an actress, then exercise that craft on the stage. And I don't think she ever did that, not from what I can tell. She was in like Minsky's burlesque ballets, but that's also not acting. It's dancing again.
Right.
So. The year was 1965, and in southeast Roanoke, the owner of a nightclub called Papa Joe's brought in a couple of topless go-go dancers.
The strippers was getting old, and we saw so much publicized on topless go-go's, and we decided to bring them here and try them.
Anybody else in Virginia done this yet?
Not yet.
Susie, what do you think of this new kind of act? Do you like it?
Yeah.
What was the reaction when you started it last night?
Oh, it was okay. Everybody liked it.
Seemed to like it?
Yeah.
Well, how about you? Do you prefer this to stripping?
Yes, I do.
Why is that?
I've always been a go-go fan.
Some Roanoke residents were outraged by what they had heard about the show, and they stormed city council chambers to complain.
Decent people don't go to that place. Respectable people don't go to that place. And these men told such horrible tales about these low-down, sorry Jezebels.
I don't believe a nice Christian lady will hang around places like that. I don't believe a gentleman will hang around it.
Mayor, I'd like to say that today, that when men go out and commit crime, well, they're ready to jail them. And could you tell me that men would go to where they and get intoxicated with alcohol and then see necklace women, topless women, and then they get that lust in them, and then they go out and commit crimes such as adultery, in which we know if our city allows such things as going in this, and we're supposed to be a Christian nation, we do know that rape and murder is going to increase. And I think that if we should, as a Christian nation, and preachers today, the Bible said that he shall make you as bold as a lion. I think that we should cry out against sin and fight this thing, because we know that this thing comes from the bottomless pits of hell.
Yeah, so you alluded to that, Roanoke. Tell us about that.
She was so beloved in Roanoke. I found all these things, like they held her over and then they brought her back and then they interviewed her in the Roanoke Times about her show-stopping, audiences packing performances. And she was a blonde, which is also crazy because she was a blonde as a dancer when she toured, and then she went to brunette to become an actress. It's just very interesting. I wonder if her acting teacher in New York was like, you need to be a brunette to be taken seriously because you're too voluptuous, and maybe it was like the Marilyn Monroe effect, where like people won't take you seriously if you're a blonde. Mm-hmm. So dye your hair and be brunette.
Well, let me ask you about the voluptuousness, because I've also heard that she had augmentation, but I don't know if that's true.
I don't think so. I can't. We have talked about this. You really want me to talk about breast augmentation any chance I get, because I'm a big not fan of that. But no, I don't think so.
I don't either.
I would definitely be able to tell, because like Dolly Sharp, that early on, the only another actress over that time in New York who got it was Dolly Sharp and Deep Throat and other things. you can definitely tell that she's had breast augmentation. But yeah, like if you look at like a Bambi Allen or a Renee Bond or a Jane Sentis or a Sandy Carey or even like Anita Strindberg over in Italy, like we've talked about, it was around that time. I'm not seeing any evidence of any augmentation on her.
Yeah,
I think she was just va-va-voom,
Yes.
Good for her.
Do we want to talk about her personal life, her disappearance, that kind of stuff? I don't know.
If you want to, sure.
Because I
think you probably know more about it than I do, because I've never, like I've said, I've never been a diehard Jennifer Wells person. I found her story interesting, but not interesting enough for me to dive into.
Well, that's why I hesitate, because like you said, I haven't like confirmed some of the things she has said to certain people. Yeah. And like you said, I don't know how much she's molding these stories to fit the truth she wants to tell about herself.
Right.
But
because that's something that I encounter too, where, I'll talk to someone, they'll tell me one thing, and then I'll talk to somebody else, and they'll be like, well, I don't know why she remembers it that way, or she or he remembers it that way.
Yeah.
But in her case, it's tough to find people to corroborate her story, so you just go with what she's saying is accurate. So if she says that, I'll believe her.
Well, we can, so we can say, she has said she basically married a fan. After
which very Candy Samples, which Candy Samples did too. Yeah.
After she divorced Manny, which
is funny, because I don't think she divorced Manny, because Manny doesn't remember ever officially divorcing her.
Oh,
she just
really?
vamoosed and left him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think he spoke about it briefly in like the early 2000s, and was like, yeah, we were married one day, and then I woke up and she wasn't there.
Oh, okay.
She left. She just ran off and left New York, left everybody, and I think that was, So I don't know if they were ever officially divorced.
Yeah, I don't know how different states' divorce laws work, if he could have done that on his own without her being there, like filed the paperwork or not.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyways, it sounds like she married a fan and he wanted her to quit. And so she basically just quit everything, cut ties with everybody, kind of at his behest, and kind of lived a life of luxury for a little bit. I think she readily said she was basically like in a gilded cage, hair and nails every day, that kind of thing. And I think she eventually was kind of working with her husband, like on the executive side. But I don't remember how exactly she got involved with horse training and horse breeding, but eventually
I have no idea.
Was off the grid doing horse breeding, and said she had no running water, no electricity, and so that's why it was so hard for people to find her. What else? She died what year? As 2018 and 2017.
Yeah, it was a while ago. And I remember that Steve Morowitz Distribix was devastated, because he was trying to get a hold of her for years.
I think she was one of those people where it was pretty late in her life when she came around to being open to talking about this stuff. The interview that I've heard from her, she didn't really... I don't know if Steven should be too bummed, because she didn't really have many great memories of... I shouldn't say not great memories. She didn't have a great memory about her sexploitation years.
Right.
Like, she just had nothing really to say about Sarno. She just said he let her do what she wanted. And
wild.
Yeah. So.
See, I was at the Sarnos stayed in touch with her, which is why the whole thing about her going off the grid was so strange to me, because I thought they stayed in touch with her. Because I thought that Michael Bowen had connected with her through them.
Through Peggy.
But I might be wrong about that. Through Peggy or Joe. I mean, they're
Joe's
also
Rolodex,
because they stayed in touch with like Marie Forza, who nobody has talked to, and they stayed in touch with like everybody that they could, because I think everyone had a good. That's why it's very strange to me. It's like, oh yeah, Sarno was fine. I was like, I mean, you did more than one movie with him. He was part of his go-to repertory.
Yeah, I know.
Group in the 70s. So I just think it's strange that there aren't really any memories. Maybe, but they all flow together because they were all kind of shot around the same time and a lot of the same different locations. So you're not going to remember like your characters that you played necessarily, because you played a lot of the same characters in those things too.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is, the character that she plays in Confessions, she's the housewife getting kind of corrupted, as opposed to in Submission, she's doing the I mean, is she doing the corrupting? It's debatable, I think.
I think she's the one being corrupted in that.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's what I was going to say.
Sure.
Like, I think the older woman in submission is actually corrupting her, yeah.
Well, I don't even know if it's corruption. I think it's more... she's been corrupted by the boyfriend. The older woman is opening her up to the idea of what, like, actual love can be.
Yeah.
It's not homophobic in that way.
Yeah, it's not.
Kind of like, well, no, yeah, this lesbian actually took her over and corrupted her. It's not like that at all. Other films are like that for sure.
Yeah.
But this one isn't, because you are never against her. And you're always against the guy, which is great.
Yeah.
Because he's terrible.
Yeah. And the final shot is, the way it's framed, it's not, it's very, I would say optimistic, the two girls kind of walking away, arms, hand in hand, you know what I'm saying?
It's actually kind of Milligan ending.
Just because someone like falls down the stairs.
It reminds me of Seeds, or Ghastly Ones. Yeah. Where it's like, okay, they survived and they will be fine. Right. Yeah. The true evil has been vanquished, and that is a man. Yeah, right. It's like, and that's probably another reason I like it. It's like, listen, this dude is just trash. Ladies, you don't need him. They really don't need him. He doesn't really do anything in the movie.
No.
Yeah. He does little like chores around the house, but that's really mostly what
feeds the
Jennifer
fish.
Williams is doing. Yeah, like anybody can do that, right?
Yeah. Your work schedule. That's why you're here, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Miles, I don't expect you to wear a uniform, but I would appreciate it if you wore a shirt in the future.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, last thing about Jennifer's, the interview that I listened to with her, the one thing I liked that she said about the sexploitation era for her was that she said that those sets were always super comfortable. Nobody was pervy. Nobody was, asking for favors. But she said the mainstream jobs that she tried to get, that's where she ran into the real sleaze bags. Yeah.
Yep. I believe it. Like Groove Tube, she had to be in a scene with Chevy Chase. You just know Chevy Chase was a total disgusting pervert to her.
Yeah.
Just because they're sex movies doesn't mean that everyone involved is like is on the make while they're making them.
Yeah.
It's a business.
Yes.
They're making a movie. They're acting. They're lighting, they're shooting, they're editing. It's a business.
Yeah.
It's not. And that's why I think when it comes to mainstream stuff, that's why it's easy to be pervy when the cameras aren't running. Because it's like, it's not up there. It's not up front and personal. It's like, we're making a sexy movie. You're going to be naked in it. You're going to pretend to have sex on camera. And then I'm going to yell cut and we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that for years. That those sets were largely not terrible. The adult sets are dealing with people in studios. Definitely awful, where you go in for an audition and you're expected to put out because you had a background in sex or a model in men's magazines and things, and you're expected to do things. Erica Gavin's talked about that. Yeah, a lot of people have talked about that. So that totally makes sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, with the 60s sexploitation, the gist I get is a lot of these people, this was like the crew, especially, they're kind of moonlighting from other jobs. So this is like their fun job. This is like their fun side gig.
Right. No, definitely. But that also means that, they're still working. It's fun because it is just fun because, like, yeah, a lot of them are just like, yeah, it's just like naked ladies running around and you're having fun and doing work. It's, it is what it is. But you're not expecting to like, okay, when this is done, we're going to have a big orgy on this set. It's like, well, no, like that's not the way that works. And it's funny because there are a few adult movies that kind of try to stoke the fires of that myth. Softcore sexploitation doesn't really do that. Like if you see something like Starlet, it's like, no, this is work. It's hard. It's not the easiest damn thing in the world. Blue Money is like that too, where it's like it's difficult and you got the law chasing after you.
Yeah, Blue Money it's a very specific time and place though. Yeah, go listen to our episode about that. But is there anything else we want to say about Jennifer's? You found a whole bunch of fun Papa Joe's advertisements.
Yes. Papa Joe's was her the big Roanoke gig. She also helped get a place shut down in Lynchburg, Virginia, which, listen, I'm from Virginia. I'm from Northern Virginia, but I know Lynchburg. Lynchburg is they have a Christian college there now. They might have had a Christian college there then. So this story got picked up by the wires and got published everywhere. So she described her dancing routine as like a parody of like eroticism, and it was like a comedy routine or whatever. And then the sheriff heard about this and sent like a deputy or somebody to watch the performance, and they said that it was immoral and disgusting, and so they shut down the venue the next day. And I was like, well, that's our Jennifer, just shutting down southern venues that book her. But she traveled everywhere. She was a super, super busy lady in the 60s. She went everywhere. And it's great because you can see ads some of the ads had pictures of her because she had like nice stills taken of her with different hairdos and things. And so, yeah, it's interesting to trace that part of her career. And then she came back to New York and she toured with Minsky's Broadway Follies. And that was based in New York, but then she would also go to like New Jersey and Philadelphia and stuff with that. So there are reviews that discuss her as like the best part of that show. Like the show gets bad reviews, but they say she's a memorable part of it. So it's interesting that she would parlay this very busy touring schedule as a dancer and then decide to settle down in New York, become an actress, and start with, I guess, career bed. Maybe I don't remember what the first one is. Yeah, we were talking about that, but yeah,
that is the part of the interview with her that I totally believe, which is she says she got into acting because she was just so tired from traveling so much. She wanted to she wanted to be in New York. Schedule. She's like, I was never even in New York for more than 24 hours between stops, so I wanted to just settle in New York. I love New York. So
but also her husband was there too.
Yeah.
I don't think he was necessarily touring with her all the time, because that's one of the fun things. You'll see her at Papa Joe's, and every single newspaper ad for Papa Joe's has a different local band performing. So like the Thunderbirds, the Fontanas, the whatever. And so you get the idea of her being at this like go-go joint where she has her number, and then this like local garage band does a set, like some go-go dancers, you know? Yeah, so I like that idea of like, I really am very much a 60s Jennifer Wells person. Like, she's so good in Good, the Bad, the Beautiful. I love her in that. She's great in Career Bed. Like, I really like that part of her career. As far as hardcore, Expose Me Lovely, she's top billed. She's not great in it. She's memorable in like Honey Pie and Sweet Cakes, which is some very similar roles as an older woman seducing someone younger. And Inside Jennifer Wells, that just came out. That's probably the second best of those profile pictures, but it's so long. Yeah. And it doesn't need to be 2 bloody hours long. But I think if you go in knowing that this is going to be her last movie, and so you want to see a ton of Jennifer Wells, it makes sense why they did that. But the best one is still Deep Inside Annie Sprinkle, but that's the second best one. Also because I think the camera does love her. I will always give her that. I think she was always gorgeous and very memorable presence in her movies, even if she doesn't move me as much as other actresses do. I still, have to give her props. There's a reason why she was a star and why she's still loved today, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you want to see Jennifer in a scene with Robert Kerman, watch Inside Jennifer Wells.
And Carter Stevens, too, right? With his glass eye.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Carter Stevens with his glass eye. God, I miss Carter. What a wild dude. Yeah.
Well, so, I watched that movie Blue Nude by Luigi Scattini the other day.
Which he was involved with.
He's a big part of it, yeah.
He was involved with casting. So all the adult people in that, he got involved. Yeah, so Suzanne McBain was in Roller Babies, and then he got her involved with Blue Nude, and she's really good in Blue Nude.
Yes.
It really gives you she's only ever good in anything else. The only other thing she's good in is Odyssey for Damiano, because people didn't cast her and stuff to act. And so, but she's terrific. And I think she's still around too.
Well, what about the 2 Don Walters movies? Do you like those? Have you seen those? Little Orphan Sammy and Blue Box?
No, I don't. Don Walters, I love his softcore stuff, especially Anything Once is absolutely incredible. The only hardcore movie of his that I like is a movie he didn't even direct. He produced Outlaw Ladies, which is Ron Sullivan's probably his best movie, which is very tough to say, actually, because he did so many good movies, one after the other. That is probably his crowning achievement, and he produced that. Okay. And Little Orphan Sammy, I like the theme song, but it's just it's dumb.
I don't.
It's so stupid, and I don't like the leading man in it. I think he's lame as hell.
Yes,
it's just not good. And Little Blue Box, I don't like. It's just, I think she got out at the right time because she was just appearing in a lot of Blonde Velvet is not good. Temptations is not good. Like her hardcore stuff is not good. Like there's very little of it that's worth anyone's time, unless you're specifically watching it for the purpose it was made because you're hot for Jennifer Wells. That's why you should watch it. If you're watching it to see her act or do anything else, you're going to be very disappointed. Stick to the Sarnos and the 60s stuff if you want to see her like act and actually do something, because the hardcore stuff just is not very good.
Yeah, I was telling our friend Alex to watch Little Orphan Sammy just so he can see Neil Flanagan, but I was like,
he's good.
I should have warned him that the leading man is like an albino
millstone. He's
weirdo.
Horrible.
Is he albino? I don't know. He's just like, I don't like to
he's just shot
watch
poorly.
him.
Yeah, he's just this gangly ass dude who only made like 2 or 3 other movies, and there's a reason for that. You know, I don't know who else they would have cast. Actually, you know who they could have cast in that is the guy the young kid that she seduced in Honey Pie, except he was gay in real life, so that would not have worked.
Okay,
because he did a good bunch of gay porn around that time too.
Yeah,
so even Jennifer can switch one of us, not me, but somebody.
Well, Jennifer Wells, we are going to bid adieu for now and talk about...
I do think she's great in this, actually.
Jennifer?
I mean, considering the character is kind of like unknowable. I mean, she's kind of like an adult. They describe her as like an adult, like a woman child nympho in the advertising or something. And she is that. She's very Marsha Forbes and Toys Are Not for Children, where she's into like playing with dolls.
Yes.
And she's obsessed with candy. So there's like an innocence to her that feels like it might be play acting for their relationship, but it might not be. It might just be that she has like Arrested Development or something.
Yeah, it's not made. It very easily could have been played obvious, like one way or the other, but she plays it kind of down the middle. Like, where is she really like a little baby acting? Is she really mentally, stunted, or is this an act? Yeah.
Is she Baby from 1,000 Pleasures? Right. Right. Or is she just Baby Doll?
Is she Baby Doll? Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
I do think that
exactly
there's
what she's doing.
Some influence there. Yeah, of Baby Doll.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that movie was condemned by the Catholic Church. Anybody who was around in *56 when that came out, they were still remembering it like a decade later for sure. Yeah.
And I think there even are a couple shots in Submission that are kind of, lensed through the slats of it's not a crib, but it's like a bed with posts, kind of in the similar way that the Baby Doll marketing was.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Sheila Britt. So yeah, speaking about her name, so I've heard Michael Bowen always calls her Sheba, and I was like, why is he calling her Sheba? Well, that's her real name.
So
sort of.
Her real name is Shelba. Real name is Shelba, but Sheba is the closest to what her real name is, Sheba. So I think Sheila. Yeah, because I think her most popular usernames are either Sheila Britt or Sheba Britt, but her real name is Shelba. Now, something I haven't really been able to figure out is, she has this accent where she sounds kind of German, but she's from the South. She's a Southern girl.
Yeah.
She's from North Carolina. So I'm not sure if maybe she's a second generation immigrant. Maybe her parents are German and they came to America and they had her. It's very interesting to trace her, though, because she was involved with like dancing and singing at a young age. She participated in a local beauty pageant in the 50s, when she was just out of high school. And she had a good theatrical background. So she did local plays. She was recruited to join a production of Miranda, which I think most people know now because it was made in 1948 as a film, I think, with David Niven. It's the one about it's a British film about a mermaid. And so she was cast in this production that was put on in Philadelphia of Miranda as the mermaid in the title role of Miranda. It's a big role for someone. She was like, going by her birthday, she was 22 years old when she got that role. So she was very young. And that production left Philadelphia and went to Off-Broadway in New York in 1960 or 1959 or 1960, I believe. So from there, she kind of became a presence in New York. She was doing off-Broadway plays. She was being quoted in like high society columns where she described herself as like a Southern girl with a Northern attitude.
What are these? Probably what
I included them in the show notes. So
she's giving her like stats. Like, I'm 38, 23, 35.
I love that. And that's in a Pennsylvania paper, which is crazy. But that was picked up by the news circuit and was published in a bunch of different papers around the country. But the New York Daily News, she's on the town column where she says, "I'm an actress and I'm a proud Southern girl too, but I intend to do some moonlighting in the nightclubs. If I do this, I guess the man downtown will want my fingerprints. Well, I've got news for him. I will not hold hands with any cop until I've met his family." And that was in 1960. And then 61, she sends they say she wrote a letter in from Darlington, South Carolina, which is oddly close to where she is now. She's in South Carolina now. But it says, "My name is Sheila Britt. I'm 38, 23, 55. Do you think my Southern accent and Northern view will be misleading if I come up to your neck of the woods? I've been reading about moonlighting, and I feel like I could be a good moonlighter. But does that mean I have to date werewolves? I have no idea what that means."
I know, yeah. What?
But the point is this. You get your name in the papers.
Yeah.
And people are going to say, "Oh, Sheila Britt with measurements. Yeah, she's some Southern girl, some blonde girl with attitude." So without a doubt, I'm sure that led to her getting cast in The Seducers, which was her film debut. All the newspaper ads saying, "Introducing the sensational Sheila Britt." She spotlighted in the advertising campaign, the trailer. And, it seems like it's a Southern fried kind of like, melodrama that's set out in the woods, which is, kind of in keeping with her North Carolina upbringing. Mm-hmm. She does start posing in men's magazines. I've had an article where it described her as one of the most popular men's magazines of 1964. Doesn't interview her, but it just names her with a bunch of other models who I've never heard of. But it does name her as being a successful pinup girl. That was in Newsday magazine of all places. It was like, yeah, Sheila Britt, very, very successful along with these girls.
I don't see her as like the pinup type. I don't know. I guess
I do. In the early 60s, I do. But I think it's because we mostly know her because she aligned with Sarno and was actually given roles to act. So like, I think you and I and other people who know Sheila Britt will know her as an actress. Because she's really good in her Sarno film. She's given good roles. She's given a lot of good dialogue. She can spar with Patricia McNair, which is very rare. Like she is very good in her Sarno films. So by the time she's in Submission, she's kind of had to wallow in some garbage. Like she's in the inserts to Seeds randomly. Don't know why that is. She appears in inserts for lots of stuff around that time. She was in inserts for like Soft Skin on Black Silk and The Unsatisfied and a few other things. But she stayed with Sarno until I think 69, and then she stopped. She was in Jerry Denby's Pleasure Plantation, which I think was her last film, maybe. And then that's it. By the time she was in Submission, she had married Sam Stewart, who she'd work with on Murder in Mississippi, where he sexually assaults her, which is horrible. And she had a kid. She had a son. So when you see her in Submission, where she has this role where there's no dialogue, but there's something about her character that is mysterious because it's from these two central characters' pasts. Like, okay, what did they do to her? Why did they do this to her? By that time, she's like, yeah, she's a mom with an infant at home.
Yeah.
When she's not cavorting around having sex with Gary Judin on camera.
And this is her last year, in film.
Yeah. Well, I think at that point, because Marcy, I think, was her last Sarno film, was Marcy.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pleasure Plantation for Jerry Denby, which was shot, off on location as well, just like Marcy was. And then that's kind of it. I think she probably saw the writing on the wall. She's in Cargo of Love in '69 too, also with Sam.
Love Me Please. She's in that.
Love Me Please, with João Fernandes.
Yep.
And Linda Boyce. So like, I think you can see if you watch her career and you see that she's in these really good roles in the Sarno movies, and then she has to be in stuff like Love Me Please, where she's kind of barely in that.
Mm-hmm.
And the inserts situations, and it's just roles that are calling her just to be naked and roll around. That's such a stark contrast to like the swap and how they make it, which I think she's terrific in.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's still alive. She's old. She's 89 years old. She lives in South Carolina. We'll leave it at that. And I do feel like I need to call her because I feel like time's running out. I think we confirmed that Michael Bowen had spoken to her and interviewed her, which is promising because I think she should be proud of her work for Sarno because I think she's so good in that stuff, And if we're not going to hear from Patricia McNair, unfortunately, I'll be happy to hear from Sheba.
Yeah. Yeah, I rewatched the Deep Inside again the other night, and
which I still haven't seen. Can you
great.
believe it?
She's really great in that. Yeah, she's the conflicted lesbian part, and yeah, it's really fun.
I love that. I still need to watch it. I still need that Lost Picture show. I don't have it yet. There's so many good people in that, but you did post the picture of Patricia McNair in that war crime of a wig.
Yes,
that is. I don't know why she would so actively sabotage herself.
She always was wearing ridiculous wigs. Yeah.
No, she has a series of good wigs. This one, I don't know what the hell she's thinking. I'm like, Pat, is it because you're on your way out? Because she didn't make that many more movies after that. I'm just like, are you just doing this because you just feel done? I don't know.
Uta Erickson, I don't think she... Well, no, she did wear a few wigs for Findlay, I think.
A few, but usually it was like her hair that was just done up pretty well. But that little, it was usually like that little, not like a Louise Brooks, but it was kind of not even like a helmet hair. I don't know how to describe it, but
yeah, I know what you mean.
It was shorter. Yeah.
Anyways, we're getting off topic.
As we always do.
What else can we say about Sheila? Anything else? Yeah, I mean, I just want to hear.
She's great.
Michael Bowen, get that book out. I want to hear from these people. I know you've talked to some of them. You're hoarding this information from us.
But if you recorded the interviews, I kind of wish that. Well, now we can't even. I would say when the next next Blu-ray comes out, but God knows when that's going to be. But I kind of wish they had been included in some of those where we had some of the audio interviews if he recorded them. Yeah. I don't care if they don't sound that great. Like my Tally Cochran interview doesn't sound great, but it has good stuff in it. So Vinegar Syndrome used it.
Well, Submissions. It hasn't had a new release since the DVD days, so that is
the negative is still there.
Yep, that is one that I think is. I mean, it should be high in the priority list if they're looking at this stuff.
I would say so.
I think it's an easy slam dunk.
Yeah. What would you pair it with?
Yeah,
it wouldn't do by itself.
Well, do you want to recreate the Times Square double, triple feature? I know you don't.
No. Vibrations is already out.
Yeah, Vibrations is already out, but
and I don't want Fluctuations. If we're gonna do Fluctuations, it should be shoved on an In Hot Blood double feature. That's the only way it works.
Yeah.
I mean, if we had a Weekend with Strangers, it should be put out with Submissions, so that should be that. But
yeah, well, if they could do Love Me Please, you could do that because it's got Juan and Sheila.
Could agree with that, except it's in color. I don't like. I typically don't like a black and white and a color together.
I know.
Just because. I don't know what I put Submission with. Probably another Twisted Sex title.
Yeah.
The Good, the Bad, and the Beautiful would have been great, but Agfa already put that out as a bonus feature. So I don't know.
That should have been the main on that disc. Don't get me
Yes, it
started.
should have. Was that on Love After Death?
Yes.
I love both of those.
I know you like.
Agree.
I don't like Love After Death.
Oh, I love it. It's so great. It's so crazy and nuts. And it's also made by like a group of Puerto Rican filmmakers in New York, so it has a very distinctive point of view that I think is very interesting.
Yeah. I'll give it another shot. Definitely.
You should. It's fun. I love it.
What's next? So
João Fernandes?
Yeah, well, let's talk about your boy.
João Fernandes? Yeah. Who I think might have gone back to Brazil. I think his wife just passed away, and I think he moved back to Brazil. But we've talked a little bit about him previously, so I think most people know him now for his hardcore work. What's that? Oh, well, he's very hot.
One of the rare, like handsome kind of. Yes. I mean, he did crew. He was a crew and a performer, right?
Well, he started as an actor, and then he got into crew through Victor Petrosevich, who did Love Me Please, which he's in. So I think it was kind of I don't know what came first. It might have been this, and then, no, Love Me Please might have come first. I don't know. Yeah. I know this was released in 60 and 70, so it was probably done late 69. I don't remember when Love Me Please was released. I don't know when that production was. But, very sexy. I think most people would remember him as the star of The Amazing Transplant, which is cut on Blu-ray, unfortunately. That was a huge oversight on Agfa's part. Missing some good nudity in there, too, actually, now that I think about it.
Male or female?
The funny thing was, male.
Okay.
Well, both. Both. So, there's some graphic stuff that's been cut out. I guess I didn't put two and two together that he was the guy from Amazing Transplant until I think I confirmed it with Georgina Spelvin, actually. Because I remember that she said, I had the biggest crush on João Fernandes. I said, really? Like a crew member? Because I never think of the people on the crew being attractive. Because I just don't. Or I didn't at that time. Now I have lots of crew members I'm into. But, she said, yeah, well, he was an actor, too. I was like, what? And I brought up a picture from Amazing Transplant. She said, yeah, that's João. I said, what? Oh, my God. Okay, well, then no wonder everyone wanted to have sex with this guy. So, yeah, he was photographing people as Harry Flex was his big pseudonym on the Damiano films. And then he went out to L.A. and started doing Hollywood films. He did a lot of Chuck Norris films. He did Friday the 13th Part 4, I believe.
Yeah. The final chapter.
He's had he did The Nesting, which was Armand Weston, because he'd done Takeoff. He's shot Through the Looking Glass. I mean, the guy really learned so much good stuff from Petrosevich and then elevated it. He became an elevated photographer, better than Petrosevich ever was. No offense, Victor, but I think for a long time he was the go-to photographer in hardcore. You knew that he was going to bring his A game to everything. And then I think Larry Ravine kind of worked, not as an apprentice under him, but I think he learned a lot from João because he worked as still photographer or assistant camera on films that João made in the adult industry.
I mean, João did Deep Throat and Devil and Miss Jones, two of the biggest.
But you can't tell those are shot by the same guy. Yeah, exactly. Right. And then Memories of Miss Aggie, which is much better to look at than experience. I think it's an overrated movie, but it looks gorgeous. Story of Joanna he shot. I mean, and then he went to San Francisco and shot some stuff for him, Damiano there. I think didn't he shoot some stuff for, what's his face? I forget their names. Oh, Edwin and Summer Brown. I think he shot some Edwin and Summer Brown stuff too.
He did a bunch of Chuck Norris movies.
Yeah, and that's Chuck Norris. He did a ton of Chuck Norris, yes. I don't know what I said before, but yeah, I think it was Chuck Norris and Friday the 13th Part 4 he did. I think he did Invasion USA, a lot of stuff. So he stayed very, 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 very busy. And for years he wouldn't do an interview because people always wanted to talk to him about Deep Throat. So he's not in the Inside Deep Throat doc. He's one of the only people that made the movie that isn't in it. Because he said, I don't want to talk about Deep Throat. Because it's not, if you're a cinematographer, there's something to brag about in that movie. There's nothing technically skilled in that movie. That if you wanted to talk to him about Devil and Miss Jones, Story of Joanna, something, Memories of Miss Aggie, I think he would talk. And I think he finally did an interview with, I know Damiano Jr. interviewed him for a doc, which I don't know when that's ever coming out, but now I think he's back in Brazil. I think his wife passed away, who he'd been with for years, and I think he left California. I think he's back in Brazil now.
Oh, okay.
I have to double check. We invited him out to the In the Flesh series because we were showing 2 movies he shot. We showed Through the Looking Glass and Takeoff. So we offered him full round trip tickets for him and his wife, tickets to the Broadway show of his choice, a 5-star hotel. We offered him everything. Never responded to us.
Wow.
So I'm a little bitter about João talking to other people when we offered him like a full package.
Real red carpet.
Just real red carpet treatment because how invaluable he was to both of those films. And we wanted those to be like re-premieres of those movies, and he made them what they were. But yeah, he never responded to our offers, and that was very upsetting.
Yeah. Well, like I always say, like people's opinions on their work change over the years. So,
right.
I wouldn't take it personally.
I just would have accepted. I would have rather heard a no than ignoring me. Especially if it's something where we're offering a substantial amount of money and goodies, which we didn't really, to be fair, didn't offer to everybody just because, he was coming out for 2 movies and we knew we hadn't talked before.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a bummer. And both our screenings look good too. He would have really liked seeing those on the big screen.
Yeah. Too bad.
Nice clean prints.
Well, we hope he's doing well in Brazil.
I do. Yeah. Mr. Fernandes. Oh, so he's credited as Juan in this, but the credit is Juan and Gloria. So Gloria is a blonde who is she's known as Allison Page. So she was the title star of Felicia with Joe Ellen. She was in How Many Times for Don Walters. So she's in those 2 Don Walters movies. She's in a ton of other District stuff. And I need to update her IMDb listing because I have so much stuff with her in the press book, but she used different names on everything.
Mm-hmm.
So she did so many more movies and she's instantly recognizable. So when I rewatched this, I was just like, wait, I've seen this how many times? I didn't know this was the girl from Felicia. I don't know why it didn't click. Probably because I was too focused on Joao. But so that's probably why. But,
who is she? Who is she in this, in submission?
She's in the sex scene with him. It's Juan and Gloria is how they're credited. So she's Gloria. She's the one he's having sex with. That's how they're credited. Could have been his girlfriend at that time for all we know.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of girls in this that they just don't stand out to me, and I don't know who they are, so you're going to help me out here.
Suzanne Landau, you should definitely know.
Yes.
Suzanne Landau is Ultimate Degenerate, Kiss of Her Flesh. After the Ball Was Over, which is great. I think people know that, but they don't know they know that, because it was excerpted on the Something Weird, Satan's Bed Scare Their Pants Off double feature. There's like a little mini featurette about like these people trying to scare this heiress to death, and that's an abbreviated version of After the Ball Was Over, which was a District X title.
Which is kind of the concept. I mean, it's sort of the concept of this movie a little bit. I mean,
a little bit.
Yeah, they're not scaring her, but there's some sort of gaslighting involved in this film. Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But she did a ton of stuff. Like, she is a lot of not good stuff either. She appears as herself in Changes for Damiano. You can kind of see her. There's a behind the scenes like photo shoot where she's in that with, I forget the other actress, and she was around New York all the way up until the very beginning of hardcore. I don't believe she did hardcore. She might have been an Oral Generation, but I don't remember now. But she's very good and very recognizable. I'm trying to think of a celebrity she resembles, but yeah, you definitely know her. Kristen Steen, you should definitely know. She's the blonde she's instantly recognizable. She's the first blonde that the older woman is with in that filmed sequence.
Yeah.
With her with a bunch of lesbians. She's the blonde. She's the star of The Procurer, which is, I think, her biggest role. She's the star of The Mind Blowers, which is another New York sexploitation movie. And Through the Looking Glass, she's the younger version of Catherine Burgess. So she has a sequence with Jamie Gillis where he, molests her. She was in Sometimes Sweet Susan, which was a SAG adult movie. She played, I think, a nurse in that, maybe. And then there's a few other hardcore movies she did, but she's in Through the Looking Glass. She's in Alice in Wonderland. She's in that as well. But she's very recognizable. She's like a willowy blonde. You'll know her. You know her if you see her. And she's very recognizable in this.
Yeah, I remember she was listed in the cast for Silent Night, Bloody Night. Do you remember that movie?
Yes, she plays one of the inmates.
Yes, and I remember she kind of stood out in that part.
Yeah.
So I remember looking her up after that. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's great. I mean, she was very young when she did these movies. She was literally 18 years old when she started doing these movies. She was an artist, and she still is kind of an artist. I mean, she got into graphic design. She went to the Pratt Institute in the 80s. She was interviewed very briefly in Legs McNeil's Other Hollywood about her time in the adult industry, and it was not positive. And so I included in the show notes an article where she actually sued Bill Milling for an adult movie that she made for him, which the working title was Ava. I don't think it ever came out, but it was shot in Newark Airport. There were scenes shot in Newark Airport. Actually, I know exactly what that was. They cut the scene out of the movie. I know what that was. So she sued him because she was told that the movie was going to be softcore. She showed up to the set and she said, "You're going to have hardcore sex with your male co-star," and they threatened her because it was a mob financed production. Yeah. Yes. And they said, "You will do this or we'll kill you," essentially. And she sued them and the judge ruled in her favor because Bill Milling never showed up to the court date. So she got I don't know, what did it say in that article? It doesn't say. $150,000. Yeah. Yep. 150 grand because Bill Milling said that there wasn't going to be any hardcore in it. He threatened her.
That's just it's such a stereotypical story you don't want to hear.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
Yeah,
it says that the unbargained for acting has caused her anxiety, mental cruelty, and depression. And the judge was a woman, so that definitely helped. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that was the last thing she did. That was in January 1977. So
I wouldn't work again. If I just got an easy 150, what's that inflated?
I don't know. Well, no, I mean, I think she used it to invest in maybe her future business or whatever. No, actually, I think she maybe took it to go back to school because she went to the Pratt Institute later. And then she also went to UCLA and got a degree there too. Mm-hmm. I don't remember in what, but she did other acting in local theater and the New Jersey theater and things like that. She's still around. I've had her phone number for a long time. I've just never called her because I don't know how receptive she is to discussing. I only want to talk about the softcore stuff, to be honest. Yeah, the hardcore stuff, she's only in 4 hardcore movies, and they're all pretty good quality except for Blow Dry, which is not good. Yeah, I want to know about The Procurer and The Mind Blowers and, what it was like to be a model. She was in a movie, I think, called Events, which was an R-rated movie. I think Joy Bang is in it, and that one is lost. I've been trying to find a copy of that forever.
Mm. The movie that she's in that I really want to see, which has some crossover with some of our faves here, is Wendy's Place.
It's good. I mean, it's a historical interest. That was Linda Boyce's last movie.
Yeah.
In a terrible wig before she vamoosed and left her casting business to Tally.
I think it's one of the last Uta Linda movies I haven't seen.
Yes.
Because they were kind of a package deal for a little while there.
Yes. And I think it was shot in their apartment building.
Yes, because they lived.
If I remember correctly. Because it's Kamal Harulu? Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. It's fine. I don't know how you're going to get a hold of it now because the DVD's out of print from Vinegar Syndrome.
Patrick Wright's in there.
It's worth seeing.
How's Patrick Wright in that movie?
Yeah, because Tally and he were in New York. Yeah. I mean, he was in a lot of sex scenes with Linda Boyce and
what was going on in
Tally
that,
and Erickson
in that apartment that they lived in?
That building?
I want to hear the stories.
Well, Tally has some good stories.
But yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Put that on the table for now.
Mm-hmm.
She's gone.
Barry, I like her. I don't think we should.
Cut it out, huh?
Oh, we need to talk about the arrest.
Yeah, tell me about this. Yeah, so who is in... Okay, first of all, there's a scene in Submission where they are in the park, kind of a sex scene. Who is the girl in that scene?
It's like a flashback. The girl in that scene, I don't know what name she used on the movie. She's credited as Samantha Siegel in the press book, but not in the film. She's not credited. If she's credited on the film, I don't know which were the pseudonyms as her. Her real name, according to this article, is Sally Ann Siegel. I researched her. I found her. She lives 2 streets away from me in Astoria. So you better believe I'm knocking on that door. No, I'm not going to knock on the door, but I am calling the phone. Also, she had a very long career as a local dominatrix because I have found ads for her on like old, singles sex ad websites with pictures of her, and I've confirmed with that scene it is her.
Okay.
I don't know if she did any other films. I didn't recognize her. If she did, I don't know what pseudonym she used. That's something that I will ask her when I call. Yeah. But so the arrest occurred because they shot the scene in Englewood, New Jersey. So I'll just read this bit. It says, Sally Ann Siegel and Gary Judin, both of New York City, were cavorting in the Buff in Allison Park yesterday afternoon when 2 startled law officers happened along. They were on a routine patrol near the park when they spotted the couple going through their paces for a cameraman and producer not 50 feet from a path. At City Hall, okay, they put their clothes back on. Alan Savage, the producer and a part owner of S&G Films, a recently formed company, called Monday to ask if it was all right to film in the park. He conceded, when I called, I didn't say what kind of movie we were making.
Yeah.
So he didn't say they were going to make a sex movie. After hearing the tale from actor and actress, whose heads were bowed in proper contrition, they pronounced the sentence, and I think they had to pay a fine.
Yeah.
$5 each for open lewdness and another $10 for court costs. So $15 for getting caught in the nude in Allison Park in Englewood, New Jersey.
Well, at least they didn't confiscate the footage.
No, because it's in the movie, right? And Savage said on his way out of the courtroom, he commented on the way his company had been treated. Everybody was so nice to us. He said, we'd like to come to Englewood again. So that's way better than, Roberta Findlay and Jack Brabman's arrests in New Jersey when they made All in the Sex Family, literally 2 years later. They were all arrested. All of the cast was arrested, and that was one of the first arrests. They were arrested later in Jersey as well for another movie.
I've heard several of these stories, of police busts, and you never really know where it's going to go. Like, I literally just listened to the Sex by Advertisement commentary with Joel Reed's biographer, and Joel Reed was talking about shooting that scene in Sex by Advertisement where he's, like, whipping a girl on a tree in the park, in Central Park.
Yeah.
Cops came by, and he told them what they were doing. They're shooting a movie, and they said, well, can we watch? So it's like you never know what kind of cops you're going to get.
Well, they did that with Venus and Furs, with Belladonna. There's, what's his face? Joseph Marzano showed up with Belladonna outside the New York Public Library with the Lions and had Belladonna and another actress whip their tops off and straddle the lions with a cop standing there monitoring the scene for safety so that they fell. He didn't want them to fall. That was the main concern. It wasn't about them being nude in public. He didn't want them to fall and hurt themselves. That scene only appears in a little tiny blip in the finished Venus and Furs. But, that was John Lindsay's mayorship. He didn't care about that shit in New York, I don't think.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so that is confirmed. Because you'd sent that newspaper clipping, and I was like, this must be from that park scene in Submission. There's no other park scene.
And I don't know what her name is. She's not credited on the film, but she is in the press book. So.
What about that? She looks like mixed race, the maid in Submission.
Yeah, not a clue.
Again, don't know who she is.
No other names. None of those other names register.
Yeah.
In those credits. So I have no idea.
I wanted to ask you before we close up on Submission, what's in the deleted scenes? I haven't seen those.
It's a lot of extensions of existing scenes. There's nothing new in there.
Okay.
It's all just like alternate takes, and I don't think you see a clapboard from what I remember, so it's not that especially interesting. There's more footage of like Jennifer Wells in the bath. There's more scenes of Sheila Britt with Gary Judin. I'm trying to think of some of the other things. Those are the big things that I remember.
Okay.
It's like 6 or 7 minutes, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's not bad. It's just outs, basically.
You just, you don't often get those on a Something Weird disc back in the...
No. Which was a nice surprise. But then again, we also don't get negatives of Chancellor films either. So we really lucked out with this one.
Yeah, what the heck? How did we even get this then? I wonder what's the story, why
I don't
this
know.
survived and nothing else did.
I don't know.
We'll talk with Alex and maybe we'll have an update next time.
Well, Alex already knows that the Chancellor Film stuff was kept at a different lab, which shuttered, and all that stuff was trashed. So I really don't know I don't know where this came from. I don't think it was in Movie Lab, because Chancellor didn't keep their stuff in Movie Lab. Unless it was something that the Savages kept there. That's the only thing I could think of, is that the Savages deposited there and just didn't care. And it was something that they only sub-licensed to Chancellor Films, but that doesn't seem plausible. Because then if they did submission there, they would have kept Weekend with Strangers there too, I would think, and that wasn't there. So,
Well,
so I don't know.
Let me say, yeah, if you haven't checked out our Patreon yet, we are putting our show notes up there, so check it out and subscribe for a measly $3. I have to put it behind paywall because sometimes there's nudity, and Patreon slaps my wrist if I don't. So,
right. Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
The show notes have a lot of good stuff on here also, because we include a lot of advertisements for Jennifer Wells's shows with her stills. We have a lot of newspaper articles. We have links to stuff about where they are now, different cast and crew.
Yep, they're packed. They're meaty. Check them out, and you can spend a good couple hours digging through all the links.
These show notes specifically for this title this is a 34-page document, and for a little idea of what it's like, Gentry creates this, and it's literally like our show link and a few little things, little comments. That's like I don't know. It takes up like a third of the page. It explodes to 34 pages over the course of like 48 hours. When we dig into the research, Gentry writes his intro, we add updates to it. Like, these show notes, I'm saving copies for myself too now at this point.
Okay, good. Yep. So
so part of this I wanted to mention was we also include a shit ton of newspaper ads for submission, which, let me tell you, trying to find newspaper ads for submission with a one-word title like that, very difficult.
Well, did you use Alex's
at least
trick?
3 hours. I did. That's what I had to do. But I know I missed some because not every newspaper ad has a tagline.
The tagline, yeah.
So the earliest one that we found for submission, it was released in Austin, Texas, March 29th, 1970. So that's the earliest release date for this film, was in Texas. And then it did not open in New York until much later. Where was that? It opened in LA before it opened in New York. It opened in the LA area in November 1970. At the Pussycat Theater, which is pretty substantial. It didn't play the Pussycat in New York that I can find, which is very interesting. But I also found some ads showing this as late as 1972, where it was retitled as The Love Cult. Not to be confused with the 67 Love Cult, or 66 Love Cult. And then the latest that I could find, it showed at a drive-in in St. Louis in 1974, at the bottom of a triple feature with Little Miss Innocence, which is the Chris Warfield movie, and Cries of Ecstasy, Blows of Death, which is Anthony Weber, Sandy Carey, like sci-fi sex movie.
Yeah.
And then submissions at the bottom of the bill. So
and it's also with Snow Bunnies.
Yes, it played with Snow Bunnies, exactly. It's just
That's funny.
And then Potpourri, which I guess is a bunch of loops, but they describe that as Triple X, which, as we know, 1972, looking at this list, none of these are Triple X. Snow Bunnies is softcore, Submission is softcore, Potpourri is probably softcore. I bet there's a bunch of loops thrown together.
Yeah. Did we talked a little bit about that recently. I can't remember if it was off or online, about how Triple X.
Yeah, again, I think last episode we did with Alex. Yes. Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean hardcore all the time.
No.
Usually not. But sometimes it does. Yeah.
It's just a great it's a marketing, what's the word?
Marketing tactic,
exactly.
Right?
Right, exactly.
Well, before we go, did you want to do the Mount Rushmore?
Sure. I only realized we were doing this near the end, and I was like, wait, what is this edition? Now, so the fun thing about this is, Mount Rushmore only has space for 4 heads, right?
Mm-hmm.
So are you keeping it to 4?
Yeah. Are you just?
You do have it kept to 4.
It is. I have honorable mentions.
You amended it. That's what it was. I was like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. I haven't thought. I kept mine to myself until I announced them live. But yeah.
Okay. Well, because this is Mount Rushmore. This isn't ranking. This is just for favorites. Yes.
Of course. Yes.
And well, this was brought about because Alex and I were talking, and we both wanted to put Jennifer Wells on our Mount Rushmore.
Interesting.
So Jennifer Wells is on mine. I know. That's why I want to hear yours. I have Jennifer Wells. Oh, this is okay. Mount Rushmore of 60s sexploitation.
Only New York, apparently.
Stop. You'll have your chance.
I can't believe neither of you put any California women, considering how many important California women there are in the genre. So I was
just what popped to my.
You're gonna put this person on here? Oh, you're saying it was first. It was immediately.
I'm not. I didn't. I'm not trying to overthink it. I don't know if Alex did.
See, I'm a classic overthinker. I immediately was like, "What? I don't know." Okay. All right.
So mine is Jennifer Wells. Got to put my girl June Roberts, Gretchen Rudolph, and Gigi Darlene. That's my Mount Rushmore.
Wow.
All right. Go ahead.
Let's see. Okay, so Mount Rushmore. Do you want me to stick to New York, or you want me to do California?
No, I want you to do California? Whatever you want to do. And I also want to say, like, when I was thinking about it, I also my stipulation, or I don't know, my qualifier was also like someone who's been in, at least more than 3 or 4. I was thinking about Kathy Crowfoot as well, but I'm like, oh, she was only in like 4 movies. So
yeah, she wasn't in that many.
Have to have a significant presence.
That's what I mean. I'm thinking in terms of like, but also I want to think of like impact.
Yeah, I considered impact a little bit, but not maybe as much as you might.
Yeah, because then it would be tough for me to put like Uta Erickson, because she didn't even use that name on like 1 movie. Okay, so my Mount Rushmore of 60s exploitation actresses. I'm going to stick to New York for my peace of mind. Because otherwise I'd be like, what the fuck am I thinking? Okay, my Mount Rushmore of New York actresses. Gigi Darlene. I'll go chronological. Gigi Darlene, Janet Banzett, because I think she made, the most movies of anybody in New York at that time. Linda Boyce and Patricia McNair, I believe. Sorry, Uta. I worship the ground Uta walks on, but I think Linda Boyce is more important because she was an actress and an agent. Patricia McNair, I think, is the most important Sarno actress of that era. If it wasn't going to be Peggy Steffens, but also Peggy's different because she also worked behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's why I didn't include Peggy.
I'm swapping them out. Patricia McNair, I'm swapping out for Peggy Steffens. Yeah, so Gigi Darlene. Because I think you have to make an important impact for Michael Findlay to ask in an opening credits graffiti, whatever happened to Gigi Darlene. That means that people in the industry who didn't ever even work with her are familiar with her. Right. So that I think she was the most important New York nudie cutie. Sorry, Darlene Bennett. That's another one I would have mentioned too.
Yeah. I also considered putting the Bennett twins together.
I only like Darlene. Sorry, Dawn. Dawn, I don't like you. She was always very gawky and strange, and Darlene always seemed like she was having so much fun, and she had a very so there was something very regal posture about her, considering she was just like some Jersey girl or Brooklyn girl.
I always joke that Dawn's the ugly one, but that's mean.
I wouldn't disagree. I wouldn't say it, but I wouldn't disagree.
Okay.
If I heard it. So you can say it. I'll agree with it. Which is crazy because they were twins. But just Darlene, I don't know. Darlene got the good genes. I have no idea. I don't know.
And she had the aura, as the kids say these days.
Darlene's great. Actually, you know what? Let me think. Am I changing this?
That's fine.
Because I had to have a blonde in there. And they're all brunettes. But honestly,
Gigi
that makes
is
sense.
Sandy blonde.
No, you know what? I changed my mind. This is official now. Okay, Darlene Bennett.
Okay.
Janet Banzett. Linda Boyce. And Peggy Steffens.
Okay.
And also because it's New York, and I always think of that as darker anyway, so it makes sense for them all to be brunettes for me.
Yeah.
California, actually, most of the women I would think of for California are blondes,
Some
probably.
sunshine blondes, yeah.
More blondes are in that. Actually, blondes and redheads would be my California.
All right. So Alex,
Yeah.
Alex's 4 is Jennifer Wells, Uta Erickson, Linda Boyce, and Sheila Britt. Sheba Britt.
I agree with all but one of those.
Yep, I know you do.
I think Sheba Britt makes sense because she's a big Sarno girl. I'm surprised no Pat McNair. What the fuck? I think she was the best actress that Sarno ever worked with in the 60s. Like, I don't think there's any competition there, except for Peggy. I think Peggy's terrific.
Yeah, it was Gretchen or Patty on my list, and
right. And you go over your honorable mentions for everyone.
Well, I guess I could.
Or basically your short list, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Judy Adler. Love Judy.
She's great.
Maria Elise.
Yeah, it's a very good pick, actually.
I'm surprised you didn't pick. Yeah, I thought you.
She didn't make that much in New York. That was that substantial.
Yeah, but
I like her better as a director, actually. Yeah.
Joanna Mills.
It's a good one too. Very good Sarno stuff. Yeah.
And then I had the Bennett twins together.
I feel like that's really giving Dawn a lot of grace.
Let's leave Dawn alone.
I'm gonna get you for
No,
that.
wait a
I
minute.
am gonna get you. I am gonna get you.
Let's end it there. What do you say?
Sure.
Unless you got anything
we do
else.
need to get some. Oh, we do need to figure out if we should be trying to do any merch.
Do we?
I love the idea. I love the idea of the shirts. Well, listen, because we had a listener say, because Dakota, the last episode, the closing line was Bob Cressy's jerking it somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a really great closing line. So, a listener, a friend of mine, reached out and said, if that's ever on a shirt, I will buy it. And so I was like, that's a good Sin Syndicate, a good idea for Sin Syndicate t-shirts are closing lines. So sort of like Alex saying, I can't wait to forget these movies.
Yeah.
Is a great line. I don't know if I've had any good closing lines. I don't remember. But, it's just one of those things.
You have. I can't remember them, but I know that I edited a few that were good.
Oh, well, one is too long. Didn't I say something like, you can't have two camp icons in a movie and consider it lesser Russ Meyer? About Common Law Cabin.
Yeah, Common Law Cabin, yeah.
It's too long. It's not like it's not quippy and quick like Bob Cressy's jerking it somewhere.
Yeah. Well, pitch it to Joe Rubin.
With a picture of Bob Cressy in like the Granny Good, the Granny Good drag with that quote would be great. I think because then you have to have a shot of him like mugging for the camera in the drag to say he's jerking it somewhere. I think that's a good idea. I think it's a good idea.
Thank you for listening. To hear more shows from the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, please select the link in the description.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.